해보도록 하겠습니다. 근데 시작을 어떻게 하죠? 아, 여기 있네요. 게임 시작. 스탠리 패러블 가보도록 하겠습니다. 로딩. 저 지금
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
목소리 개 좋다.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number
427번 직원으로 일했대요.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of
와, 맨날 이런 일 하면은 지겨울 텐데.
Although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
얘도 운동하면은 재밌을 텐데.
Was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
뭐야? 얘가 시작이야? 오! 잠시만요. 이거 좀 올려드릴게요. 됐죠? 뭐 하라고? 아무런 지시도 내려오지 않아. 일단은 사무실.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
메모 못 봤나? 열어 이 새끼야. 뭐야? 일단 회의실로 가랍니다. 회의실이 어딘데? 이쪽 아닐까요? 어디가 회의실이지? 여기 아닌 것 같은데?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
왼쪽으로 들어갔다고? 다 어디 간 거야? 회의실이다.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
위층에 사장실? 여기 진짜 회의 중이었는데 아무도 없네. 화장실이 아니라 사장실. 사장실로 가죠.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
남의 일 같지가 않네요. 회사에서 이렇게 따돌림 당하고. 사장실인가? Executive bathroom. 화장실. 예. executive가 무슨 뜻이지? 예. 아닌가?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
사람의 흔적을 찾을 수 없었대.
Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number.
다 알려주네.
2845.
4, 5.
But of course, Stanley, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened
새로 열린 게 어딘데? 에이. 나 좀 똑똑할지도? 어떻게 힌트 없이 이런 걸 알았대? 뭐야 이거? 내려가면 될 것 같은 느낌인데? 이거 뭐야? 오씨, 공사장 아니야 이거? 자, 로딩 중.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
기묘한
It
느낌?
was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now?
직업의 내 작업의 본질 직업에
This question would not go unanswered for long.
내 직업의 본질에 대한 안 무섭지롱. 일로 가야 돼.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
정신
Mind
지배
Control
기관.
Facility.
출구라고 적혀 있는데요. 이거 나가봐야 되는 거 아닐까? 가는 쪽 페이크 줬다가 바로 나가버리기. 갈게.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this
잔인한
hall,
죽음을 맞이할
Stanley
거라고?
would meet his violent death.
설마 죽기야 하겠어. 어차피 뭐 데이터 쪼가리가 없어져봤자 0101 하다가 죽는 거지 뭐. 들어가 보자. 진짜 언제 죽어? 죽을 거면 빨리.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get
네 말
back.
안 들어 이 새끼야. 말 걸지 마셈.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
진짜 매매? 계세요? 응계. 탈출인가? 여기 어디야? 매매.
Machine whirred into motion, and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise.
됐다.
He reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
아이,
Stanley can't see
진짜
the
죽네.
future. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is.
어머머머머.
Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
이렇게 숨어. 살았는데? 역시.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal
안녕히 가세요,
jaws.
스탠리.
In a single visceral instant, Stanley
Oh.
was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
뭐지? 뭐야 여기? The Stanley Parable. 뭐야 엔딩이야? 여기 왜 막혀있냐? 이거 좀 치워주세요. 산 거야? 죽은 거야?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
오, 여기 어디야? 천국인가?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the
죽어도 삶도
same.
의미가 없다.
Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit
Nature
start?
Paintings. 스탠리는 원래 죽은 목숨이었다는데? 스탠리스 컴퓨터, 스탠리의 컴퓨터, 내 컴퓨터잖아. 오피스 레이아웃, 사무실 이렇게 생겼네. 이세카에 와버린 건가? 사무실 컴퓨터. 뭐 건드렸는데? 다 꺼버려 그냥. 이거 뭐야? 버튼 사운드. 별게 다 있네. 열어주시오. 안 되네. 크레딧이 있는데요. 이거 진짜 뭐 엔딩이야? 이렇게 빨리 엔딩을 본다고? 왼쪽 오른쪽. 왼쪽. 올라볼까? 오른쪽. 뭐야 여기 사무실 아니야? 계세요? 뭐야 여기? 왔던 곳으로 돌아가는 느낌인데? 저쪽으로 가야겠다. 엑시시다. 아싸.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
뭐야 이거? 이거 내려도 되는 거야? 일단 그 내려 보겠습니다.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
도대체 내가 지금 뭘 하고 있는지 모르겠어.
Listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail.
또 왔어.
Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this
EXC
game.
누르고.
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose.
난 네 말대로 안 할 거야 이 새끼. 뭐? 난 시키는 거는 안 하는 성격인데. 아니 찍 딸기잼이 돼버렸네요, 그죠? 아씨 다시 시작하겠습니다. 진짜 오버된 거야? 다시 뭐지? 됐다. 뭐야? 아까 뭐 메모 얘기했었잖아. 여기서 이제 다 털 거 다 털어 그냥. 뭐야?
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will.
여기서라면 나 행복할 수 있어.
And here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days.
뭐야?
Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell.
몇 년 동안
But the
있었다고?
one thing he knew for sure,
했을까?
beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer.
뭐가
Now
가까워진다는데?
it's even closer. Here it comes.
아씨 깜짝. 뭐지? 다시 시작인 건가? 가만히 있으면은 그냥 다시 시작해버리네 얘네가. 하지만 또 안 나간다면? 두 번은 안 나갈 줄 몰랐겠지 이 새끼야. 됐다.
But Stanley simply couldn't
뭐야?
handle the pressure. What if he
열어!
had to make a decision?
아까 똑같네.
Come fell under his responsibility. Very soon now, this will end.
다음에는 바로 나가야겠다
He
그냥.
will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
오케이. 지 혼자 다시 시작. 이번에 나가겠습니다. 알았어, 빨리 나갈게. 일단 나가고요. 전화가 오는데? 여보세요? 여기가 아닌가? 이건가? 이건가? 됐다.
Hi Stanley, just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We
집에 올 때 뭐
need
가져와야
milk,
된대.
cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of
스파게티랑 뭐
sugar,
비누,
some
설탕 이런
bread,
거.
and coffee beans, whichever ones you like.
커피도
I'll give
가져오래요.
you a
네가
call if
좋아하는
there's
걸로.
anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
좀 뭐 심부름 시키네. 이런 거 한글 자막을 해줘야지. 응? 나 심부름 시켰습니다. 열어줘. 가기 싫어. 다 꺼버려. 전기 낭비는 두 눈 뜨고 못 보지. wait input. 재섭성. 뭐야? 여기로 가자. 여기서 두 개 문이라고 했잖아. 바로 그 왼쪽 간척하면서 오른쪽 봐버리기.
This was not the
약간
correct
그
way
축구
to the meeting room,
느낌으로다가.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
바로 이제 페이크 걸어주고요. 지금 제작자가 놀랐을걸? 제작자가 놀라고 미국도 놀라고 그 일본이 질투하고
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few
직원
moments here in this
휴게소구나.
immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
음미 안 할 건데. 커피다.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
아, 계속 있으니까 꼽 준다야.
Captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
근데 동료들이 사라진 게 내 알바인가? 나는 당장 내 삶에 그게 더 중요하다고.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy
인격.
and reflected poorly of his overall personality. It's possible
내 인격
that this
욕한
is
거야?
why everyone left.
뭐 할바야? 사람들이 나 빼고 놀러 가는 게 뭐 하루 이틀도 아니고 그죠? 저번에 야유회 때도 다 나
Stanley sat
빼고
around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
창문에 머리 박기. 스쿼트 100번. 이러면 또 메시지 나오겠지? 뜸들이지 마라. 나올 건 빨리 나와. 아, 안 나오네. 아, 이게 끝인가? 에반데? 가는 척 하다가 문 닫히기 전에? 문 닫히기 전에?
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to
왼쪽에
business.
열려있는 첫 번째 문으로 들어갔어요 라고 하지만 절대 네 맘대로 안 하지 새끼야. 바로 직진.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
가죠. 오, 뭐야 여기 현장 근무인가? 아, 여기 그거네. 이케아네. 이케아 직원이었네. 가구 마트잖아.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've got.
하베 여기서 자살해버린다면?
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
아니 이거 나랑 안 맞는 게임 같은데 이거?
Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
아씨. 땀뿌.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've got off on the
좋아요.
wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your
위로
trust in
올라가는구나.
someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to
나를
make every decision by yourself.
제어하려고 하지
I'm
마라.
asking for me, I'm asking for her.
그녀? 나에게도 그녀가 있던가?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
독신으로
To
산지
put your
연
work
18년.
aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
아니 그녀가 누군데? 그니까 부럽네. 깜짝.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her.
전화를 받으라고?
Truly place your faith in another.
절대 안 받지.
Then pick up the phone.
잉? 받을까 말까? 받을까 말까? 절대 안 받지 이 새끼야. 받을까? 절대 안 받지. 절대 안 받지 이 새끼야. 꼬아? 꼬우면 게임. 절대 안 받죠. 좀 기다리겠습니다. 금방. 왜 안 끊겨? 이거 빼버려야 되나?
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him
전화 안
not just with
받았는데?
radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one. Wait. Oh goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
뽑아버려
No, that
그냥.
wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
뭐야?
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything.
절대 네 말 안 듣지.
How on earth are you making meaningful choices?
근데 사실상
Wait a second.
우리 부모님 말도 안 들었는데 네 말을 왜 들어?
No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation?
날
I
너무
won't have that kind of risk.
몰아세우면 나 오줌 싸버린다.
For a moment, so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world.
날 너무 몰아세우지 않는 게 좋을 거야.
Video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous.
선택을
For
잘하래요.
example,
그게 진짜
in this
사람이 되는.
scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished
교육용
third world
영상이래요. 나를
nations.
교육시키기
Or he
위해서.
could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to
뭐야, 이거 왜
finish their
자막이
thought,
없어?
then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
practice. 이제
Excellent. Making choices on a regular
정의로운
basis
선택은
is the
건강한
best
결정과
part
진도.
to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make
8번?
more than 8? Less?
하루에 8번이나 할 수 있어?
And finally,
대박.
if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially
뭐라는 거야?
insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
훈련 받으래요, 나보고.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're
올바른 선택을 하는 법을 알게 되었으니
decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago.
올바른 선택지가
and see
어디로 갈지
what
볼 수
the
있대.
correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
싫어, 안 가. 에헤, 가기 싫어. 이 새끼의 어떤 그 의도에 굴복하기 싫단 말이야. 싫어. 나를 구속하려 하지 마. 라고 하기엔 길 이거밖에 없네. 가기 싫어. 진짜 싫다. 진짜 지는 것 같아. 하지만 가야겠지. 뭐야? 어디로 가라고 이제? 열어주세요. 또 살자 말이 없네. 뭐야?
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping.
이제 못 죽게 한다.
Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story.
내가 사람인 걸
That story would
인지해버렸어.
make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place
나 사람
is not
아닌데?
well equipped to deal with reality.
나 벌레인데? 나 벌레인데. 나 사람 새끼 아닌데. 가기 싫어. 너네 왜 나 보내려고 그래? 다시 태워줘. 씨. 아, 일로 가면 나 지는 거 같잖아. 그러니까 날 왜 통제하려 해? 여기서 또 한
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again.
진짜 세계에
You'll
집으로
be home
들어간다고?
free in the real
절대 안
world.
가지. 잠깐 만담이 나고 있죠. 근데 아무 말도 안 나오네. 이런 것까지 예상 못했나 보지? 응? 내가 여기서 만약 한 달 동안 컴퓨터를 켜놓고 안 간다면 어떻게 될까? 어? 너 새끼가 날 이길 수 있을 것 같아? 아니? 너는 그냥 데이터 쪼가리일 뿐이야 이 새끼야. 라고 하면서 나가버리기. 어디로 가야 하죠? 여기서 왼쪽 방으로 가라겠죠?
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as
스탠리가 할
would.
법한 인대로
That
그대로
means
하간다고.
choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
왼쪽이니까 이렇게 봤을 때 왼쪽이면 이쪽이죠? 이쪽으로 가겠습니다. 왼쪽 문.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
싫어! 아 어쩌다 내 져준다 한번. 응? 말 듣기 싫어. 어?
It's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? Well, it's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge.
내가
I'll
이긴
have to live
건가?
with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do
래퍼야.
I do?
말이 왜 이렇게 빨라?
What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
게임 꺼버렸어. 와. 왜? 내가 그렇게 잘못했어? 뭐 이상한데 여기?
Oh, I'm here.
뭐야?
I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside
진짜
of
너무
you.
뭐라는 거 아니야?
You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
왼쪽에 문으로 들어갔어요. 단 하나의 망설임도 없다.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would.
한 번 더 하자고. 계속해봐. 계속해봐 이 새끼야.
I'm door on his left.
엥? 바로 오른쪽. 왼쪽 오른쪽 구별
Why did you do
못한다고.
that? Quickly, hurry.
I can do this all day. 하루 종일도 할 수 있다 이 말이야.
I'm quite at the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
어쩔?
Door on his left.
봐버렸네. 바로 나가야지.
Quickly, hurry. task.
5번 정도
Just follow
했으면은
my lead and you'll
안
be
되는 거
fine.
아닐까?
All right. Door on his left.
계속 루트 걸어놓은 거 같은데. 아, 씨. 라고 생각될 때 한 번 더. 가버렸지롱.
Why did you do that?
왼쪽으로 가자.
Quickly, hurry.
아, 가비.
Or you'll be up to the task.
일해라 절해라 하지 마세요.
You'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
아씨, 진 거 같아. 아, 기분이 안 좋아졌어 나. 게임 따위에 져버려?
Yet there was not a single person here either.
올라가기로
Feeling a wave
했습니다.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
하지만 내려간다면?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
왜 안 내려가지? 왜 안 내려가지는 거지? 이걸 막아뒀네. 아까는 있었는데. 아, 진짜 개빡치네. 열어주십사. 어? 사장실이 달라졌는데요? 아까랑?
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
달라졌네?
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this
음성
until he
인식기라고?
saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week.
Night
Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out.
뭔데?
Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the
말 안 할
courage
건데?
to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
말 안 할 건데? 내가 말해야 돼? 나샥 115. 아! 왜 이래? 왜 튕기는 거야, 왜? 아, 말하고 있었잖아! 아, 뭐 하는 짓이야, 이게! 아, 에바지.
Decision making in the real world.
아, 교육 비디오 또 봐야 돼. 아,
Helpful
what the
instructional
fuck?
video.
It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the
엑소시즘이다,
most dangerous.
씨발.
For example, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished
교육
nations.
싫어.
Or he could systematically set fines.
세대
No
멈춰.
time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with
뒷걸음질 치는데 이렇게 돌아주는 센스. 여기서.
Stepping
왔다.
inside his manager's
그 부분.
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw
뭐야.
from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
나이트샥 115. 아이씨. 씨발 튕기게 돼 있는 거였네. 아, 개새끼. 아, 이말 새끼. 씨발 튕기게 돼 있는 거였네. 게임이 이겨먹고 있다고요?
All of
그러니까
his co-workers were gone.
이진법 찐따 주제에 감히
Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
건국대학교 졸업생을
Perhaps
농락해?
he missed a memo.
내가 복수해주지. 하부터 스크린
Stanley
어서오세요.
came to a set of 2 open
fake.
doors. He entered the door on his left.
쑥. 싫어? 이제 좀 말 좀 듣는 척 하다가 나중에
Yet there
뒤통수를
was
그냥
no
존나
single
후려버려
person
그냥.
either.
어?
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
내려가야 돼.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
내려갔다. 병신.
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
뭘?
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours.
뭐야, 자동차가 왜
He
여기
might be
있냐?
fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to
차가 왜 여기
Stanley.
있어? 뭐야?
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am
또
crazy.
있는데?
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
뭐지?
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this,
어?
he began to make
아니,
other
씨발,
strange
뭐야?
observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close
발이
automatically
보이지 않아.
behind him wherever he went?
발이
For that
없어.
matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
아니.
Were they simply repeating?
뒤로 가버린
No,
나는.
Stanley said to himself, this is all
아니네.
too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
꿈일
This is all
거요.
a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation.
아니,
His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job.
자동차가
He wasn't
나오면-
crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real life
즐긴다고?
job pushing buttons. I may as well
그러면은
enjoy this
커피를
while
뽑아
I'm still
먹자.
lucid. So he imagined himself flying.
날고 있다가
Began to
사살했다고?
gently float above the
오.
Then he
어머머머.
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too
어머머머.
appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he
이것이
remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and
그러니까.
thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
뭔
I'm
개소리야?
voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream.
좋았다.
How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself?
말이 많네, 나레이터가, 그죠?
He doesn't have to take responsibility for himself. Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control,
꿈일 거야.
that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he
눈을 감으세요,
invited
여러분.
himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up,
꿈인가?
he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife.
아내도 있네.
and my
나보다
job.
성공했는데.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
네? 하지만 바뀌는 건 없었죠? 뭐지?
Stanley began screaming. Please,
깜짝아.
someone wake me up. My name is
살려주세요.
Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
네. 사배 까매졌대요.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
어?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed,
Mariella?
gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
뭐야?
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town
뭐야?
talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments,
Call the
she considered the
ambulance.
strange man. He was obviously crazy.
Not for me.
This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she
스탠리
was.
죽은 거야 지금?
I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
나도 시체 본 적 있는데 집 앞에서 나올 때 2번 봤어요. 옛날에 말 몇 번 했을 거야. 나 처음으로 돌아왔네. 왼쪽으로 내려가면 저렇게 되는구나.
Hi, Stanley. I just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today.
죽어버린 건가?
When Stanley came to a
아니네.
set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
까비? 죽은 줄 알았네.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
사무실로 올라가
Feeling a
볼까요?
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
좋아요. 그래서 이거 집 안 열리니까 사무실. 아 그래 이게 사무실이지.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his
사장.
boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
2845.
2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known.
알아?
Incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
가보자. 뭐 없나? 가보자. 사보작. 아이. 이번에는 죽는 곳 말고 그 정상적으로 한번 가보죠.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for
사실
himself,
직업의
to
뭔지.
question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
정신지배기관.
Facility.
들어갑니다. 정신 지배당하러 가죠. 내 몸이 이상해져 버려. 누구세요?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television
텔레비전?
screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to
어머, 내
find
정신
out?
지배당해 버리는 거야? 날 지배해줘. 나의 몸과 마음을 망가뜨려줘. 감시 카메라 삑.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building
와, 뭐야?
and his co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored
몰카야.
this place where freedom meant nothing.
실제로 이런 곳이 있을까? 실제로? 어딘가에 있겠죠? 근데 이렇게 하는 이유가 뭐야? 띠.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't
끔찍해버려.
be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was
내 방도
happy with his
보인다고?
boring job? That his
에반데?
emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
이.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Never.
It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
어디야? 여기?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls
행복.
labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery
여기를
would
폭파시키는 게 이제
never again
목적이네.
exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
하지만 해제 안 한다면? 뭐야 이거? 그래서 내가 이렇게 단순 반복 노동을 계속 했는데도 행복감을 느낄 수 있었던 거구나. 정신 지배를 당해버려서. 그죠? 이 뭐야 이거는? Mind controls either awaiting input.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
온이 끄는 거잖아, 그죠? 온.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After we kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I
김어때.
I really do.
못돼,
But you need to
김어때.
understand, there's only so much
넌 나
that
절대로 막지
machine can
못해.
do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that.
조용히 해라.
I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent,
이게 적절하다고?
Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's
어,
emergency
에반데?
detonation system. In the event that this
지가
machine is
이야기를
activated
바꿔버리네.
without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the
에반데?
entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes.
2분?
Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
에바예요.
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now.
에바예요.
Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy
에바예요.
it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off.
초록색.
But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk
이게
about
뭔가
you,
퍼즐인가 이거?
me,
초록색 여기
where
있다.
we're going. What all this
초록색 버튼 어디
means,
있지?
I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace
뭐야,
before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood.
초록색 버튼이 어디 있지?
Anyway, I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I
1분
simply let you
남았는데?
sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
뭐야 이거 도대체?
Other times, I let the office sink into the
노란색.
ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich.
뭐하는
Almost
얘기야
hate
이거?
to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better.
1번.
My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm
안
enjoying
돼!
it so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are
안
precious additional
돼.
seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
뭐 어떻게 되는 거야 이거?
Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that
어떻게
timer
알아요?
that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. running from button to button,
작은 것도
screen
누르고 다니고
to screen,
있잖아.
clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley,
새끼야 죽일라 그래.
you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to
에반데?
your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you.
오, 나를 농락하지 마라.
To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first,
33초?
so you can't.
굿바이 임플로이
Take a look at the
417.
clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left
뭐
to
위쪽에
strike.
있는 거 아닐까?
30 seconds until a big boom and nothing.
오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오오ooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooo
choice.
에반데?
Another choice.
저기 가서 오프를 눌러야 되나?
Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke.
응, 절대 안
And
눌러.
believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable
너무,
life
너무.
from the moment we fade in until the moment I say.
너무 흔들려요. 너무 내가 뭘 잘못한? 뭐 바뀌었는데?
All of his co-workers were gone.
뭐가 바뀌었어 방이.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
회의실이 어디죠? 여긴가요?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew
왼쪽으로
perfectly well.
할걸.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth
왼쪽으로
admiring.
할걸.
But eager to get back to business,
하지만 여기서
Stanley took the
다시 갈 수
first
있을
open
거야.
door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on
뭐지?
track.
내려가고 싶게 생겼네. 내려가도 될까요? 나 여기 가도 돼? 응, 가보지. 가보자.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
지도 모르네 길을. 가보자.
Oh, no.
뭐야.
No, it's to the right.
왜?
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
한번 해보자.
Was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute?
이게 나 농락하네.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
정말 가기 싫게 생겼다 인정. 나쁜 놈.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
눈 안에 다 넣어버리기.
Okay. We just have to get back to who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable.
감시당하고 있잖아.
Rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track.
에바야.
Okay. From the
에바야. 날 자유롭게 해줘. 날
All
죽여라.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
날 자유롭게 해주지 않으련?
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
그래.
Right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
일로 가야지. 에이, 열어줘. 브렉. 브렉. 맨 오른쪽. 맨 오른쪽. 뭐야 이거? 이어져 있잖아. 일로 가면은 뭐가 나올까? 뭐가 나올까? 먹을 게 나오나? 맛있는 거 나오나?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story.
아, 안 돼. 아, 안 돼.
Do we need to restart the game again?
제발 그만해.
I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again.
여긴
But it's
어디?
got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a
미로다,
shot.
미로.
Why not?
아,
All of his co-workers were
안녕하세요,
gone.
스탠리입니다.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to
오늘은
the meeting.
스탠리의 삶에
Perhaps
대해
he had
한번
simply missed a memo.
알아보는 시간 가져보도록 하겠습니다.
Okay, yep, it's
Ah.
worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where
제대로
we
안 해?
just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
아이씨, 이렇게 조련하는 건가? 나를? 나 점점 조련당하고 있는 거예요? 누가 나를 조련해주면 좋겠다고 생각은 했었지만 이런 식은 싫은걸?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The
뭐야?
story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace
나 말
our
안 듣는다고
steps.
지금 벌 주는 거지. 내가 볼 때 지금 벌 주는 거 같아 그냥 나. 뭐야?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think
열어줘.
so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Ah!
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off.
좋아요.
So, good job. Oh no. No, I don't feel right about this at all.
뭘 아무것도 안 해. 내가 얼마나
You didn't put in
어?
any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care
또
what might
재밌지.
happen this time. I have to restart.
아,
All
저
right,
Stanley Parable
I've got a
Adventure
solution.
Line.
This time, to make sure we
친절하네요,
don't get
그죠?
lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the
심술이야,
line.
심술
How simple
얘는.
is that?
가볼까? 슉슉.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our
여기 어디야?
destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey
뭐야, 이거
such that a
여기잖아.
destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
얘가 정신 나간 것
Well, I'd
같은데?
like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
깜짝아 이 새끼야! 소리 존나 커. 아우.
Cut the music, go back, and look at that fern.
양치
Wait,
식물?
what? We're back at the office? No.
Oh.
Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is
Oh.
ringing a bell?
날 정말 미치게 하려는 거야? 오케이, 다시 왔네요. 가자. 어디로 가야 하죠? 아저씨. 우는 병신.
No, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't do
이것이다
it.
먹으라지.
Hell with it. Restart.
아. 혈압이.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget
What
the
the
adventure
fuck?
line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
지성이?
Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
어디? 어디? 어딘지를 열어줘야. 어디? 어디 새끼야? 아 어디? 아 여기? 아 게이드.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our
계속
story
빙글빙글
to
도는
be?
느낌인데요?
Go wild. Use your imagination.
뭐야 이거? 아
Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
드디어 바뀌었나? 응? 개새끼. 나쁜 새끼. 어? 사람을 이렇게 가지고 놀아? 제작자 누구냐 이거? 에? 당연히 빙글빙글 도는 구조잖아 이거는. 아 뭔가 거꾸로 가도 똑같을 것 같아서 그랬지.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
신경 쓰지 말라고? 신경 쓰이는데? 쭉 가보죠.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a
땡
decision.
길면 어때?
From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity.
빨리
I
열어주세요.
believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that
절대 안
each
돌지.
door has to
귀찮아.
lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination
우리 목적
corresponds
반대 방향의
with the
역방향이.
counter-inverted reverse
뭔
door's
개소리야?
origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts,
뭔 소리야?
the door on the right is the
약간 뇌절해 얘 어떻게 미쳤나봐 진짜로.
Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
어? The confusion ending. 여기 다 있네. 자
Oh, hold up, what's this?
혼란. 리스타트.
Confusion ending.
세컨드
You're telling
리스타트.
me that's what
더드
this is?
리스타트.
It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all
뭐야 이거?
determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
이것도 다
What if I don't
예정돼
want to
있던 그런
forget?
거야?
My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be.
뭐야?
I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's
하지
going
마봐.
on. I
잘
don't
뭐
want to
어떻게
be
되나
trapped
보자.
like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
응.
And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for
이러고
us?
가만히 있으면 뭐가
Will
되나?
something happen?
응 아무것도
So-
없죠.
Okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now.
심오하구만.
We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
어씨 깜짝. 깜짝아. 어씨. 미친놈 아니야? 죽고 싶어?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
메모. 왼쪽 문.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
슉.
Yet there was not a single person
드디어
either.
제대로 된 길로.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to
드디어
his
제대로 길로
boss's
가는
office.
건가? 드디어. 파이널리.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication
놀라고
of any
말았습니다.
human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk.
뭔가 말이
What could
바뀐
its
것 같은데.
purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra
틀린다면?
secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sure
아무것도
statistical
없네.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct
와,
code
멋져.
by sheer
문
luck.
열리는 거.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
드디어 제대로 된 길로 가는 건가 나? 눌러볼게요. 이번에 말을 좀 들어야 되나?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that
또
read
들어왔어요.
Mind Control Facility.
아까 왔던 곳이죠? 누르고 길
The
열리고.
lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
오케이, 일로 가자. 이 감시당하는 거를 이제 띡.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to
무슨 방이길래,
images on a
저기는?
screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally
뭔가 특이한 방이
in
있어,
this
저기,
place
하나씩.
where freedom meant nothing.
다음. 띡.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
내가
Had Stanley
427이었나?
been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
됐다.
But here was the proof. The heart of the
퍼즐이 있는
operation.
걸까?
Controls labeled with emotions.
아직 잘
Happy
모르겠어요.
or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink
이번에는
in, Stanley
저기서
decided that this
5%를
machine would
눌러보자.
never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the control.
띡. 오씨. 끝이야? 해낸 거야?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had
뭐야?
won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
프리덤 개꿀?
And yet, Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay.
문 열리고 있는 거야, 저 뒤에?
Where had his co-workers gone?
뭐야?
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to
안
him.
나간다며?
For it was not knowledge or
와, 문
even
열리는 거
power
봐라.
that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life
뭐지?
he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
가도 되는 거야, 이거?
stepped through the open door.
안 갈 건데? 안 갈 건데? 안 갈 거지롱. 안 갈 거지롱. 뒤로 못 가나? 아씨, 뒤로 못 가. 아무 일도 안 일어나네. 아씨, 뭐야? 이게 진정한 뭐 트루 엔딩 이런 게 아닌 것 같은데.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
행복했네. 직원들은 어디로 간 거지? 직원 뭐야? 뭐야? 여기서
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
여기로 가지고 여기서 뭐 문이
Look, Stanley,
있다는데?
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
저기 문.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that
좀 더 가고
investing your
싶다.
trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been
여기로-
about nothing but you all this time.
저로 떨어질 수가 있잖아.
There's
잠깐만.
someone you've been.
잠깐만, 이거 궁금해서 못 참겠다.
Someone you for. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Zero consideration for others. Are you that convinced that I want something bad to
궁금해서 못
happen to you?
참겠다.
Why? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something
여긴 어디지?
beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
빨간
Give me
문.
a chance. Now listen carefully. This is important.
스텔리는
Stanley
빨간 문으로
walked
들어갔다고요?
through the red door.
파란 문이요? 수고.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
아, 파란
Stanley
문이요?
walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating
아,
properly.
오케이.
Stan, oh, thank
이런
God you
식으로
are
가게
willing to
한다고?
listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing
뭐야?
right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier
아,
if we
왜 아무것도
just
안 나와?
stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
뭐야?
What do we want? What are
이게
we
뭐야, 이거?
looking for?
아니,
Yes.
우주다!
Beautiful, isn't it?
우왕.
If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy.
진짜 우주네.
I actually feel happy.
행복해? 행복해? 나 안 행복한데.
No, wait. Where are you going?
다시 온 건가?
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
에.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
자, 준비됐나요? 네, 선장님. 아! 뭐야?
Thank God, no. No, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this
바로
away
발목
from me. I
접질렀지만
can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
네, 선장님. 아!
Stanley, let's go back to... My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
준비
Literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from
준비됐나요?
being happy.
아!
Situation correctly.
아이.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
이동 속도가 좀
Just
느려졌어.
wanted us to get
아닌가?
along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one... Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
상시 인터폰에 말하라고 시킨다고? 어차피 뭔 짓을 말할 수 없으므로 멀쩡히 서 있게 되는데 뭐야 나 인터폰에다 말했는데 그 게임 튕긴 거 아니야? 나 게임 튕겼는데 거기서 여기서 내가 튕긴 거잖아. 그러니까 그러면은 가만히 서 있자. 여기서 진짜 아무것도 안 하고 그냥 가만히 있을게. 그래도 튕긴다? 그러면은 야 fucking
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was
아무것도
once
안
again
합니다.
stunned to discover not an
손 놓고
indication
있을
of any
거예요.
human life. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week.
제발 튕기지 마라,
Night
제발.
Shark
안 말할게.
115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
아무것도 하지 마. 왜 엔딩을 못 보게 하는 거야?